All right, we're going to be working on the RX8, 2006 RX8 today. And as always, I try to get the data ahead of time. So one of the things you should know is the torque spec for the lug nuts is 85 foot-pounds. Good enough. And then here's the drain plug is 22 foot-pounds. It takes about 4.5 quarts of oil with new filter. I always put in 4 quarts. I just do it because I've discovered it's better to run a touch low than a touch high. Mazda recommends a 5-20. Most people use a 10W30 or a 10W40. I use 10W30. It doesn't get super hot here. This is not Phoenix. I've got some plugs coming. As people know that there's a trailing and leading plug, I use the NGKs. I've got them ordered. I got them on Amazon. If you go to the dealership, they almost want $250. Amazon has the same thing for about 80 bucks. And there's that spec. Now, I'm going to do the transmission fluid, and I try to have the fill plug, drain plug, differential. I try to get the torque specs. I find torque specs to be incredibly important. It's nice to have them ahead of time so you're not trying to fake it while you make it. We have the transmission fluid. Now they recommend 75, 90. I just use the 90 weight. They suggest you can use GL4 or GL5. I always use GL4 in transmissions because it has synchronizers. It takes about 1.75 quarts. And then same information again, a little different perspective. And you can see that 1.4 quarts for the diff, 1.8 quarts for the manual transmission. You can see the torque specs, foot-pounds, Newton meters, foot-pounds. You can see there's a range, 29 to 40, 29 to 40, that's for the differential. And then for the transmission drain plug is 29 to 43. And for the transmission fill plug, it's 18 to 29. So you could probably do 29 both and you'd be fine. And we'll go from there. So be back. Well, we were successful. This is the oil we got out on the RX8. It's a 2006. We put it down the dipstick and we got here 2 quarts, maybe 4 quarts. We're not 100% sure, but we'll put it up on the lift. We'll see if anything comes out of the oil drain plug. And we're hoping that we can actually do it with the oil extractor because then we don't have to remove the drain plug. Life is good. So we'll be back. All right, Drew, why don't you hold on to the Pyrex so if there's any oil that comes out, we'll be able to record it. So obviously we're on the underside of the RX8, which we just did the oil extraction on. And now we're gonna see if we actually got all of it out of the crankcase. We're gonna, oh God, I hate this oil. I hate oil. I hate oil. Oh my God. We got all the oil out of it. Well, that's awesome. We can now evacuate the oil on the RX8 without having to pull the drain plug. That's sweet. Okay, we'll be back. We're gonna check the brake fluid on the RX8. It's been a couple of years. The car wasn't tracked last year. So I've got the tester set up for .4, which is where that red line is, and it went off because I chit-chatted my way through it. And we've got a green light here, which is the battery. And we'll immerse the little probies. And we'll see what it does, if anything. Of course, oh, could it be 0%? That is a possibility. I will play with it a bit. God, it's 0%. So technically I don't need to change it at all, but I'm gonna flush it because I'm gonna be tracking the car. So 0%, great. It hasn't absorbed any water. This is good, bye. All right, this is obviously an RX8 2006. This is the Renesis engine, and I'm gonna try to show you where the oil filter is, which is right down there. You can see it right there, tip of my finger. It's a pain in the butt to get out. I have a little cap that fits on the top of it. I then take a 3/8 inch drive and come down off from the top to get it loose. I hand tighten it. So it's all done. Got the oil filter off and on. Put in about 4 quarts of 1030. I know people say it's supposed to be 0W20, but I run 10W30 because I run this car pretty hard, and I only run it in the summertime, so it doesn't need the thinner weight in the winter. It's not a winter car. It's a summer car only. It gets fully warmed up before it gets driven, which is one of the big issues with rotaries. People tend to treat them like they're piston engines, like you can short shift them. They're not. The water block and everything else needs to warm up, and then you can run it. And it's got a new set of plugs coming, which are easy to do on this car. You take a wheel off. I'll probably do a video on that, but most people with rotaries know that. I didn't show you, but the brake fluid got replaced. Flushed all the wheels, checked the torque, checked the rotors, checked the pads. They all look good. So it's all done. Next step is going to be tranny and rear diff. Check the air filter. This is what I use for manual transmission fluid. It's GL4. You can see it's GL4. Mazda says you can use GL4 or GL5. I just always use GL4 in trannies because it's just easier to do that way. This is what I use for my brake fluid. And this is what I use for the rear diff, which is GL5. That's what it's meant for. It's got a limited slip. So that'll be until tomorrow. I've got all the washers necessary to do the work here. This was the oil filter I used on this car. So, ready to do some more work tomorrow. The car can be driven now. It's ready to go. Now, this is a really nice RX8. I just got to tell you right out of the box. I got it from a dentist in Illinois about 3 years ago. He never drove it in the salt, the snow. He had it garaged. He had the oil changed twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. Then he stored it. It runs really well. It's in excellent condition. And I think the bad rap that rotaries get is because people drive them like piston cars. They're not meant to be daily drivers unless you know what you're doing. This one never sees the snow or cold weather. It gets treated with love and affection, and I believe it will last a long time. It gets frequent oil changes, which is my philosophy with all vehicles. Oil is a lot cheaper than engines. I do premix. I take a thing called Beanol, which is a castor oil bean item. Let's see if I can go find what it is. The nice thing about Beanol being castor oil based is that it mixes with E85. I do not use E85 in this vehicle. Here's the Beanol. This is what I use for my premix right here. Beanol, made by Klotz. I put about 1 ounce per gallon in because obviously you drive a rotary it's a pretty revvy engine. Like I said, I use 10W30 because it is a summer car. So it seems to be doing well. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I know I am. Andrew, who's been with me a couple of days, a young man I've known for 20 years because I know his parents. He and I get along. We have a great time. We did his Impala, and then we started on the RX8, which is a rocking car. I put gauges in this car. Down here, we've got water temp, oil pressure, and oil temp. I did modify the oil coolers with a thermostat that's about 30 degrees lower, so that top end, when it's being run real hard, it's 190 or 200. But it's a great car. Oh my God. This is such an amazing car. And it's nice to have one that's in really, really good shape, as opposed to the rust buckets and other junk that exists on the planet. I love the color combination, the red and black. Yes, very sweet automobile. Hope everybody who likes rotaries likes this car, because I know I do. It's a great little automobile. So I will talk to you later. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you had a good time. Hope you're having a great day. Oh, yes, and if you can, hit the like button. Even if you don't like it, just hit the like button. And that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.